Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of Better Days, a Chinese dramatic thriller from 2019 that stars Zhou Dongyu and Jackson Yi. Now, after the brief introduction, the film opens with a scene of chaos and confusion at a large high school. One of the girls committed suicide by jumping from a high rooftop, and our lead character, Nian, walks over to the dead body and covers it out of respect. Unfortunately, she may have just unknowingly set herself up as the next prime target for a group of bullies at the school. This is pretty bad timing because she is 60 days away from the all-important college placement examination, and she is about to experience some blowback from the actions of her con artist mother. So all this is hitting this girl at the same time. Thankfully, she forms an unlikely friendship with a small-time criminal who may help her get through all of this. Now, I'll say this right now, Better Days could be the best film I've seen from 2019 so far. So let's start with the lead actress, Zhou Dongyu. Big-time director Zhang Yimou selected her to star in his film Under the Hawthorn Tree way back in 2010, despite the fact that she had no acting experience at the time. Now, that man knows talent. Over the course of the last decade, she has stood on her own 2 feet and built up a very respectable acting career. The movie that solidified her as a personal favorite for me, however, was the romantic comedy This Is Not What I Expected from 2017, which co-starred Takeshi Kaneshiro. Now, I mentioned in my review of that film that I loved this actress, and I would watch her in anything. Well, after watching Better Days, I somehow love her even more. She is phenomenal in this movie. So this has to be one of the best performances of recent years. It's a very difficult role that demands a lot of intensity and a wide variety of emotion. She's very natural in her line deliveries, mannerisms, and emotions. This is a totally convincing performance that has no weak points whatsoever. You know how sometimes when you're watching a movie and an actor is doing pretty good, and then when they need to express strong emotion in a scene, it exposes their acting weaknesses? Well, Zhou Dongyu is constantly moving in and out of strong emotion the entire film in Better Days. And she's totally convincing all of the time. So at this point, in my opinion, she needs to be considered to be one of the best actresses in the world after this. I also like her co-star, Jackson Yi. Initially, he plays kind of like a typical youth delinquent that we've seen in many films before. But in this case, he needs to keep up with Zhou Dongyu. And the fact that he's able to establish a chemistry with her and play off of her nicely throughout the whole film is pretty commendable, so I liked him in this. And all of the side actors are good too. I mean, the cops are well acted, and the lead bully, who is a girl, is so smugly portrayed that you want to punch her in the face the whole film. The lead actress did a good job portraying her as well. The script, nicely written and nuanced. I do commend this film for showing teachers and police that actually care enough to help bullied students. That really surprised me in this film. Because most bullying films, or films that revolve around bullying, have teachers and police officers that just don't care. You know what I mean? It's even a bit of a contrivance in spots, even though, in real life it's true in certain aspects, but that's not the case here. But there are limitations to what, these teachers and police officers can do to protect a student who's being bullied, especially in regard to, say, instances that occur outside of school grounds that leave little evidence, right? But at least I felt like the situation was realistic here and not the usual kind of contrived scenario where no one cares about it, right? And early on, you can tell that Zhou's character is going to be a little bit more difficult to break than the girl who recently committed suicide at the beginning of the film. Our lead character here is a good student. She has some determination and attitude about her, which is evident during her early conversations with the male lead, this juvenile delinquent. They get on each other's nerves a bit early on, and the dialogue is actually somewhat confrontational between our protagonists, which makes sense given, their personality traits. It makes the situation more realistic. The bullies are pretty much straight up evil. They are. But you do note certain things about them that make them interesting. Okay, so, for example, the lead bully girl is quite intelligent. She gets high marks in school. She scores very well on her exams. But I also found it really fascinating in how she justifies her actions through warped logic. Like, even near the end of the film, no spoilers, but her outlook on, penance for her prior actions is pretty fascinating. And just how demented it sounds. It just shows how these people are just out of touch with reality and don't really understand what it is that they're doing. Some very good realistic dialogue to enjoy in this. I really enjoyed the conversations involving the cop, because the cop talks to every major character in the film, including the bullies, at certain points. So you get kind of a well-rounded kind of perspective through his eyes, and I like that. There are some surprises in the film. This is especially true during the second half. Not quite as simplistic of a situation as you might expect, okay, while you start watching it. Definitely some nuance and attention to detail here that I appreciated. It's a well-written film. And make sure that you stick around, because once the final credits start rolling, you think the film's over, but you need to wait about 30 seconds to a minute, and then the real ending of the film is in the credits. You got to make sure you stick around. Don't just turn the film off once the credits start rolling. So just remember that. There's not a whole lot to complain about this movie. I highly recommend Better Days. It's a dramatically powerful film that will stay with you long after the film ends. You absolutely need to watch this film. That's all I'm saying. It's available for rental on YouTube, and it's also available on Region A Blu-ray, which I recently added to my collection. And you'll see that in a collection update in the future. So check this one out. And as always, we'll see you next time.